We initialize the menu by initializing the set at line 4, which is called menus. We copy the contents as written. Each index has its own inner set consisting of the food and price. We then display this at line 14, using a for loop to which we first use the len function to count the number of elements of our menu set, which is 5. The reason why basically is that the inner sets are considered as one element. Continuing on in line 15 is where we print the set. To put it simply, since I starts at 0 and we initially print the first menu item with I plus 1, it prints the first item as 1. Next, we call our set that prints the first index of the menu, which is burger. Then we print the price next to it. The dual brackets is used as a way to call the contents of those inner sets separately. So if I is equals to 0, we call the first index. Then the other brackets is 0, to which we call the first index of the first index inner set. And when we want to only call the price of the first index, we increment the second bracket value by 1, so it calls the second index of the inner set of the first index. This goes on until we print everything down and continue on to step 2. Now on lines 19 and 20 is where we append and insert a set or a value within our menu set. Now, the difference between the two is that append always adds new values or indexes at the end of the set, while insert adds a new value into an existing index. Note that this doesn't replace the contents of the existing index, but rather shifts every index by 1. Now, this also works when we ask a user to append a new index at a menu. At lines 22 to 25, we ask the user to input their new dish and their price. And the append at line 25 adds those values into the set with a format similar to the other indexes with those having sets within. For validation, we also print a modified menu using the same for loop. Now on this step is more on explaining the difference between the remove and pop. At line 33, the remove function is used to remove an existing element of the set, while pop removes an existing index. Both have the same function but take different approach. By default, the argument for pop can be left blank as it will automatically pop the last item of the set. This cannot be done the same for remove. We also print a modified menu again for validation. In lines 42 to 44, by making a copy first, we ensure our original menu stays safe and in its initial order while we sort the copy. Now let me explain the sort. The key lambda used at line 43 is basically a function that basically tells that we're only grabbing the value of the index 1 of each element of the menu set. So to put it simply, it grabs the price of each element of the menu and uses that to compare and sort. And since by default it is sorted in ascending order, we will use the reverse function to sort them in descending order. Lastly, we use this for loop twice, once to show the original menu and the other to show the sorted and reversed menu. To search a dish in our menu, we first initialize a variable to ask the user what dish they want to find. We also initialize the found variable to false as we will use this later on as a condition. So on line 61, we use a for loop to search through every element of the index in line 62, using the double brackets to only search for the dish name. We also use the lower function so that we can find the dish regardless of case sensitivity. It will search through the whole set until an element matches the input given by the user. Then it changes the found variable to true and breaks the loop. The break is important because at line 67, we use the variable I used on the loop to not only tell which index that element search is saved in, but also calls it. This is before line 66 where we check if the found variable is true, to which explains why we need that variable. Moving on, to count every dish that is priced above 100, we first initialize the count variable to count the number of dishes and use the for loop to search through each element. We also use again the double bracket similar to earlier, but we now instead use a second bracket which grabs the price to compare if it's more than 100. Every time it does, we add 1 to our counter variable, and this goes on until it has searched through the whole set. Lastly, it prints how many dishes it counted that are priced over 100. We then focus on lines 78 to 88 on combining two menus. We first initialize and define the dessert set we're combining on line 79. We then use the extend function and menu with the argument dessert to combine the dessert set into the menu. It works similar to append, as the elements in the dessert set are appended to the menu set, and we can verify this on line 87 to use the for loop again to print the whole now combined menu. Now we should try to simulate ordering on this menu. We first initialize the orders we will order on line 91, and then proceed into an infinite loop where we will take our orders one by one. For each and every input, we first check to see if it's the word done to basically tell that the user is done ordering and thus breaking the loop. Otherwise, we now use the for loop search used on step 5 to search that dish. But instead of breaking, we append that menu into orders if that menu is found. Since we're only using one bracket, this means it will append the whole element including the name and the price. And once done, we loop back to line 94. Earlier, we used the found variable again, but this time it's for line 104 to check if our found variable is false by using the not expression. If the food is not found on the menu, it simply tells the user that, and we loop back again to 94. And again, this goes on until the user types done. Once we break that infinite loop, we lastly print the list of items we ordered as same as we did on step 1. This step is rather short as we just format the order set similar to a receipt to simulate the total amount that the user ordered. This is done on line 117, which shows that for every price in that order, we add it to the total variable, which will then be printed on line 121. Shorter than step 8, this is to explain that we use the copy function like the one in step 4 to copy our menu into the new set named copied menu. Then, we use the clear function on the menu to clear out the contents of the menu set. To verify that it has been cleared, we both print the copied menu and the original menu that has been recently cleared.